So this looks like a bog standard Maruti Celerio, and here I am in this nondescript half-finished private industrial estate on the outskirts of Calcutta. Not a special occasion, is it? Completely wrong. This is a very special occasion. In fact, I am about to drive possibly India's first autonomous car. Yes, that Maruti Celerio drives on its own, and I can't wait to be driven. Cars that drive themselves are being tested all over the world. But in India, this Celerio, developed by a small startup called Fisheye Box, is the first. So I'm all set to create a small bit of history by driving the first indigenous autonomous car. Turn the engine on.
Turning on engine.
Okay, so here I am. It started up just with my voice recognition, so pretty futuristic, pretty cool. Now the protocol here is I don't have a steering wheel, so I pull the joystick back, which engages the brake, select one, switch to full autonomous, and yes, thank you, and I'm letting it go. Ooh. Hands off. Yeah, so here it is. It's driving on its own now. Thank you. It is driving on its own, as you can see, completely hands-free. Maybe I have time to check a quick message. Well, I have all the time to check messages because car's doing the job for me. But I think what's interesting is there's this turn coming up. Let's see what it does. Okay, no hands, no hands. You just have this itching feeling you want to grab a wheel. There's no wheel to grab, but look, it's turning on its own. That is quite a freaky thing to happen. So what did it take to make a standard automatic Celerio drive on its own? To start with, the steering box, throttle body and brake servo have been stripped out and replaced with potentiometers and servo motors linked to a black box which takes charge of the main functions like the steering, engine and brakes. The brain of the Celerio is the CPU, which processes all the data before telling the car whether to turn right or left, accelerate or brake. It, however, relies on a combination of visual data from a normal 720 by 1080 forward-facing camera and an inertial measurement unit, or an IMU. An IMU is a GPS, gyroscope and accelerometer all rolled into one and has a location accuracy of up to 1 centimeter. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? So here we are cruising along, and obviously we've got a bit of a tight turn over here, and yeah, slowing down for it, and oh yeah, it's turning on its own, So I wish I could go a bit faster, but you know, the guys at AeroDrive really haven't quite perfected the software. Yeah, this is very, very crude and rudimentary self-driving car, to be honest, but it's really a start. And trust engine ingenuity to do this on something like as basic as a Celerio. Simple it may be, and it takes the couple of turns that have been mapped out quite easily, but how would it cope in real-world conditions? Okay, so another feature of this car and most autonomous cars is pedestrian detection control, because if it's driving on its own, pedestrians dart in and out, which always happens. You don't want to knock them down. The car has to sense it and be able to stop. Okay, now there's Paul shooting us. Are we going to run him down? No! Well, I have to admit, I don't trust this car to completely drive on its own, and I instinctively want to take control of the steering. But hey, where's the steering wheel? In fact, when you're driving it in manual mode, there's no steering wheel, so nothing you can do, but there's this joystick, and I'm told this joystick costs $2,000. That's, well, nearly half the price of this Celerio. And it's pretty sensitive, but it's just, the whole car is drive-by-wire, so just a few little movements get it to accelerate, brake, steer. I mean, I don't quite feel like an F-16 pilot, but you know, it's a pretty cool feature. All the hardware used in the Celerio isn't exactly cutting edge by today's standards for autonomous cars. The CPUs in the Celerio are already old school compared to today's GPUs or graphic processing units, which interprets visual data so fast that there's no lag and the response is in real time. Another expensive and crucial bit of hardware is a LiDAR system that maps objects in 3D to accurately pinpoint the car's location and paints a picture of the surroundings. This helps in identifying other vehicles, pedestrians and obstacles. But again, LiDAR units are 6 to 7 lakhs a pop, which rule them out in this pre-funding stage for fisheye box. While getting the right hardware is a straightforward function of money, it's the software that is the real key to making autonomous cars safe and reliable. Artificial intelligence and deep learning are incredibly powerful types of software that crunch visual data in a way that makes a car think and take decisions. But first, a giant library of images and conditions that typical road users face has to be built up before the software can make a car respond in a particular situation. And that is why Google's autonomous prototypes have run hundreds of thousands of kilometers for the software to soak up a wealth of real-life situations. Well, that was a small peek into the future with AeroDrive's autonomous car. Well, to be honest, it's quite crude, it's quite basic, very, very rudimentary, and just about does the bit. I mean, we drove for a very, very small distance, and basically what it did was just took some turns. I don't think it can recognize objects yet. You know, all that sort of stuff which you expect from autonomous driving is still not there. So really, this car is still very much as a proof of concept. But it is quite impressive that they managed to do this on a Celerio. But the bigger question is, will autonomous cars be perfected to a point that I can sit right here in the back seat with no driver in front and get to my destination? Well, that is the goal. That is what they say will become a reality, but how soon we really don't know. And clearly in India, there's a long way to go because the road conditions are so unpredictable. But driverless cars definitely is going to be the way of the future.